Welcome to Madrid Reviews. This is your host, Christian Madrid, and on today's video, we're going to be talking about Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Let's get to the video now, yo. Alright, y'all, let's get into this. So, just got done watching the new Bruce Springsteen biopic, and I was disappointed with this film. I'm not even gonna lie. I am a Bruce Springsteen fan, and I like his music. Born to Run, Born in the USA, Thunder Road, Badlands, Hungry Heart. He's got so many great albums and songs. Bruce Springsteen is one of my favorite singers of all time. He's not my favorite, but he's one of them, I would say. He's got a lot of great music, but this movie wasn't very good. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really care for it. I didn't think it was on the level of like some great biopics that we have gotten, like Bohemian Rhapsody or Elvis, or even The Doors or, Straight Outta Compton. Definitely not on the level of any of those great music biopics. Scott Cooper's direction with this film isn't very strong and fails to keep the movie grounded. The writing is the weakest aspect of this film as it tries to be too many things at once and fails to tell a compelling story. I feel it's like style over substance. I don't like how the film focuses mainly on him making his Nebraska album, which is his most personal album. I could definitely see that from watching the film, but it's definitely not his best album at all. My personal favorite of Bruce Springsteen is The Darkness of the Edge of Town. That is a great album. Born to Run, Born in the USA, The River, great albums too. Like, it could have focused on one of those, but no, it focuses on Nebraska, I guess, because this was probably the hardest time of his career, coming off the success of The River. But I wish it would have focused on one of those albums, and it probably would have been a more compelling and interesting movie in that way. That's my opinion on it. But this movie is a clusterfuck of a mess, and it tries to be different from other biopics, but then goes back to other biopic tropes, and the story doesn't lead to anything satisfying from a narrative perspective. You get some insight on Bruce Springsteen. It shows him, battling depression and showing why, because he would be abused from his father. That was an honest portrayal of the legendary singer, and I found that part interesting, but it could have delved a little deeper, and it could have been like, more purpose, to, show his triumph over that, but the movie doesn't. It shows his struggles, depression, childhood trauma, but this bleak look fails to show the positive side of his music career and how all these things he's gone to, you know, is the reason, where he's at today, one of the biggest singers of all time, and fails, be a celebration of that. And because it's a pretty depressing film, and I think a Bruce Springsteen biopic should be more of a celebration of his career while showing the other things he's gone through, you know. I did like, the part of the movie that I did like is when, the music producer, the main Bruce Springsteen's manager, was pitching to the studios like, this is what Bruce Springsteen wants to do. He doesn't want to do Born in the USA this time. He wants to do Nebraska. He doesn't want to, put out any singles, no promotion, no tours. And the fucking studio was just laughing at him, because it's crazy to think that he chose to do Nebraska way before Born in the USA, even though he ended up doing Born in the USA, and it's one of his best albums for sure, his most successful album to date. It's fucking ridiculous to think of. And while I was watching that scene, this movie altogether, I was thinking, why the fuck aren't they choosing to do this movie about Born in the USA? Like, the movie's kind of self-aware of it, I kind of feel. Anyways, but they should have showed more interesting things, showing how they formed the E Street Band, or, story going into Born in the USA, or, what led to the success of his breakout album, Born to Run. Like, they could have done more things. Bruce Springsteen is an interesting person, but I think they didn't pick the most interesting or impactful part of his life, in my personal opinion. I don't know. I know he obviously approved it. Bruce Springsteen's still alive, so, he knows more about his own life than I do. Anyways, but, the acting is good. I'll give it that. Jeremy Allen White does give a good performance as the boss, even though he doesn't look much like him. Jeremy Strong also gives a good performance in this film. He was a standout for me, Jeremy Strong. This guy's going to win an Oscar someday. He's a great actor. Succession, one of the best shows in the past 5-10 years, and he does a magnificent job in that show, and he did a magnificent job in this movie. Cinematography is fine, but the production design is what shines, as this movie does a good job in showcasing early 80s of Bruce Springsteen's life, with great sets and costumes. The soundtrack is, of course, great, as Springsteen's got a fuck ton of great songs, but I wish there was more footage of the concert, more concert footage to showcase, show his live performances. That's what a lot of great music biopics do, like Bohemian Rhapsody did a phenomenal job at showing those concert performances. I wish this would have had more of those. The editing offers a slow burn that takes a little too slow at times for my taste, and this movie could have been cut like 15, 20 minutes. Overall, the new Bruce Springsteen biopic was not horrible, but it wasn't that good, and not the best story you could have told about the boss. This movie could have, it's probably better just to watch at home, but check it out if you like in theaters. I want to go watch, Shelby Oaks tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do, probably should have watched that first, but anyways, this movie's okay. I'm giving it a D, We're not eating very good watching this movie. It's like Burger King type shit. Alright, y'all, so that's the end of the video. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment on whether you have seen this movie or excited to see it. And if you see it, let me know your thoughts. What's your favorite music biopic? Mine's probably Bohemian Rhapsody about Queen. Love that movie. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button alert so know when I drop a new review. Appreciate you all for watching. Have a good morning, afternoon, night, whatever time you're watching this. Thank you so much for taking the time of your day to watch me talk about movies. Thank you. Bye-bye.